What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Henry Wilson. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Live Show. Today we are taking a look at the 6-game main slate over on DraftKings. If you play on FanDuel, they included the 6:40 Tampa Bay Chicago game. So if you do play on FanDuel and you have any questions pertaining to that game, again, feel free to throw them in the chat. You got Justin Steele versus Taj Bradley in that game on Mount, so some pretty good pitching options there for this main slate for FanDuel. DraftKings left that off here, so we'll primarily be talking about the games over there. The 6-gamer starting at 7:10 p.m. Eastern time. I did the playbook, so you can find that over on Fantasy Alarm right now. Henry, how we doing, man?
Doing great. Yeah. Excited for today's slate. A smaller 6-game slate, obviously, but still some great pitchers, some really high-powered offense as part of it. So for a smaller slate, got a lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah, no shortage of pitching here. We did obviously take a slight step back in the pitching because this slate was supposed to have Luis Castillo pitching for the Seattle Mariners. They moved him back a day. We have Emerson Hancock now matching up, what could have been maybe just a marquee matchup. Garrett Crochet against Luis Castillo. We talked about that on the pre-show, myself and James Grande, about these smaller slates. Occasionally there are instances where it makes sense to play both pitchers in a matchup here. That was looking like maybe one of them. You had Castillo at $8,500 on this slate, Crochet at $94. Like, that would have made so much sense just to pair those two up in a duo. Obviously, again, now Hancock in, Castillo out, changes at least some of what we're looking at when it comes to pitching. Joe Ryan is your top price starter, and in terms of rostership, was your top rostered starting pitcher today as well. During the early looks against Oakland, Crochet there against Seattle. I don't really understand the Michael Grove price tag. Didn't really understand the Ryan Yarbrough price tag either. So we're just going to ignore what the Dodgers are doing today. Aaron Nola's at $9K. Tanner Houck on the opposite side of that matchup at $8,800. Is it as simple for you here, Henry, that Ryan and Crochet are the 1-2 on this slate?
Oh, absolutely. I think they're easily the 1-2. I think you can kind of flip a coin on them. They're both such great pitchers, great strikeout stuff, and great matchups. You got Oakland and the White Sox, or Oakland and Seattle, who both strike out a ton. I think I lean Crochet a little bit just because he has shown just ridiculous strikeout stuff this season in Seattle. Strikes out more than anybody. But you can't go wrong with either of these top guys. And it's not like they're crazy expensive. You could even consider putting them both in a lineup.
For sure.
But I think they are easily the top two today, and I'm happy to go either direction with them.
Yeah, this game with Crochet and White Sox and Mariners, earlier today, Seattle was a much larger favorite. I think they're like -150. Now they're still a -120 favorite, which is a little interesting. But Chicago's moved up to an even money play, so certainly a little bit more win equity now in Crochet's favor. The Twins are the biggest favorite on the board, -270 over Oakland. So definitely having the win equity, which is why if you go look, we'll have the updated rostership here after the show today. But what I'm looking at right now, 38% of the field looking like they're going Joe Ryan, Crochet just under him at 26%. Aaron Nola is getting some love. You and I are Red Sox fans. It feels like it's, for whatever reason, just been dangerous at times, starting especially righties against the Red Sox here. Nola's been obviously phenomenal, and you're getting him at $9,000 after being 10-5 and shutting out the Brewers in his last start. So a big price decrease here. Are you concerned about Nola here? I mean, again, fandom aside, obviously as Red Sox fans we are, but where are you and Aaron Nola tonight?
Yeah, I mean, the Red Sox lineup is, not insane, but they're still not like a rollover team either. They can still provide some pop, and it's in Fenway. Nola has been fantastic. So I think you should be able to trust him here. And at $9K, it seems good. I think the only reason I'm not is because paying the extra couple $100 to go to Joe Ryan or Garrett Crochet, I'd still just prefer both of them. But that's my preference. I don't think you're crazy to go to Aaron Nola here. He's been fantastic. The Red Sox strike out plenty. So there's definitely upside here if you do want to go for Aaron Nola.
Yeah, for sure. When we go into the mid-tier, thoughts on Severino? Houck is $8,800. Brandon Pfaadt, $7,400. Do you have a favorite of that trio?
Yeah, honestly, my favorite's the cheapest guy, Brandon Pfaadt. he's been pitching okay, not great, giving up too many runs, but he's still been getting strikeouts. And so he just provides some really good upside here against the Angels. And so for that price, I think I'm leaning him. Not that I don't like Severino or Houck. The Philly scares me a lot for Houck. He's been pitching awesome, but Philly is kind of terrifying in Fenway. So probably not playing Houck, but I like both Severino and Fott there. But I think I lean Fott as my favorite.
Yeah, Fott for the value. We talked about that on the show, the preview show. Again, if you caught it, you look at his recent outings and you're kind of like, I don't really know about this one. Giving up the 13 runs over the last 3. But if you go look over on Fangraphs, which is one of our favorite sites to go look at some of these sabermetric stats, a lot of his underlying numbers are super favorable. He's got a 4.6 ERA, but his expected ERA is 3.02. His xFIP and FIP are both under 3.5 here. So you're getting really just some unlucky bounces here for Brandon Pfaadt in these matchups where 4 straight road starts against the Dodgers, the Rangers, the Mets, and the Padres is a tough draw. The Angels are not a good offensive team against right-handed pitching. So, don't necessarily be blinded, I think, by the overall numbers from Brandon Pfaadt here. And, ownership-wise, coming in around 14%, Severino around 16%. So those are where the 2 value plays are. And I don't really have any interest in anybody else. I'm not going to pitch Emerson Hancock, even against the White Sox. The Renzen against the Dodgers doesn't feel great. Not going to go Rodri Munoz, Medina, or Canning here. So for me, I'm gonna live probably in that Ryan Crochet spend up spot. And if I'm looking to spend down, it's probably Fott for me as well.
Yeah, I'm lockstep with you there. That's exactly what I'm doing. And yeah, no one else there really interests me either.
Well, we appreciate you all in the chat. If you haven't already hit that like button, hit that share button. It's a free way to support the work we do here over at Fantasy Slammer. I know our guy Don is in there. I see 3 you pop in, and then Cam the Man also in our chat here. We'll get to some of your questions. I see them in the chat. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them in there. We'll certainly answer them as we move across here. Let's go to the catcher spot, a position we generally look to spend down on. You got Luis Torrens in there at $2,800. They're resting Francisco Alvarez here today. We obviously know he had the 2-homer game recently. Reese McGuire is drawing the Nola matchup. I mean, what are your thoughts at catcher spot today?
Yeah, the 2 that really pop out to me, I like Gabe Moreno facing Griffin Canning, just because don't really trust Canning at all. And so I know Moreno's had a good bat, but the number 1 that's sticking out is Luis Torrens. Obviously, what he's done in a small sample so far has been fantastic. So this decent matchup with him batting 7th, this cheap, he's the one that sticks out by far the most to be as the one I'm going to turn to.
Yeah, I agree with you again. Just getting that cheap bat in there. Adam popped it in. Thought about the Mets tonight against the weak Marlins pitching. Yeah, we're definitely in on the Mets. We'll come across. We already just hit their starting catcher for tonight. We'll hit the rest of those positions. And again, if you're new to the show here, we go position by position. So if you have a question on that specific position, we'll answer it. If you have a question about a different position, we'll get to those when we hit that position there. So first base, up at the top, you have obviously the Dodgers there. Now, Michael Lorenzen, if you look at his numbers against left-handed hitters here, he's actually been dominant against lefties this season. It's like a 100 batting average against. I mean, do you think that holds up? Does that shy you off of Ohtani Freeman here, just how good he's been against lefties?
It kind of does a little bit, actually. I think Lorenzen just has a lot of talent, too. We've seen him be good against lefties, and I just know that he can go out and dominate sometimes. Again, against the Dodgers, it's not enough for me to be willing to, play Lorenzen as my pitcher, but it's enough to me think about, not paying up this much for those Dodgers hitters. Obviously, you're still not crazy if you do it. They're amazing. But I think I'd probably rather save the money and avoid that Lorenzen of the potential of him shutting them down and go elsewhere.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of where I was at as well. I was writing up the playbook here today. It's like, Lorenzen hasn't been great if you go look at his sabermetric numbers, but the splits are pretty ridiculous there against lefties, and that has me a little bit concerned. Now, righties actually hit him a little bit better, and maybe that lends to some of these other plays as we move across, like Mookie Betts or Teoscar Hernandez. But we're looking strictly at first base here. So if we're crossing out Dodgers, where are you going next when it comes to the first base position?
I like both of those top guys of Christian Walker and Pete Alonso. I think these are both pretty good matchups, really strong offenses that I'd be willing to stack today. So if you're looking to spend up, that's probably where I'm going is either of those. Depends kind of if I'm leaning Diamondbacks or leaning Mets. I like Walker a little more, but it's really close. But after them, I actually really like Nate Lowe today. Okay. We kind of talked about those Dodgers pitchers of, I don't know why they're priced so high. And I know Grove's been pitching well, but I, don't really trust him to keep up what he's been doing. And I think the Rangers offense could attack him today. So I like getting Nate Lowe at 3,800. Like, he just continues to produce. So kind of like that value play here at first.
Yeah, I like Nathaniel Lowe as well. You know, my initial like knee jerk was like, oh, I remember Michael Grove the last couple of years very bad against lefties, and those numbers were true. Over 200 ISO allowed to left-handed hitters over the last couple of seasons. This year's been a lot better, but again, smaller sample size. You know, this is a lineup that's going to put a lot of pressure on him as well. You'd assume that Semien and Seager. So I'm definitely in on Nathaniel Lowe as well. I also like Carlos Santana now. This is the wrong split side for Santana. He's much better against lefties and righties, but I mean, he's on another one right now. Super hot, 340,000 OPS over the last 10. And Minnesota's going to be one of our favorite stacks, I think, today against Medina. So getting the 6-hitter here for Santana works for me.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. Yeah, even with the wrong side of the split, Medina's not a very good pitcher, so he can still do some damage there, and he's cheap.
Yep, agreed. And my last guy I'll toss out there is Gavin Sheets. Again, not having to deal with Luis Castillo anymore. You got Emerson Hancock. The power numbers for Gavin Sheets are certainly in play here, I think, against Hancock. So willing to give him an extra look tonight when I really wasn't looking at any of the White Sox with Luis Castillo on the mound. Now a few more maybe come into play here this evening.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have been playing a single White Sox bat against Luis Castillo. But now that it's Emerson Hancock, they come in at so cheap that I am willing to kind of think about taking some of those values against him, because Hancock has not pitched very well so far this season. So
he has not.
I'm willing to take the chance on some of those White Sox bats, something I'm not normally wanting to do.
No, for sure not. They have been hitting some more home runs lately, so that kind of lends to their GPP value. Moving on over to second base, Marcus Semien up at the top, Ketel Marte, Bryson Stott, your top three price guys. Marte came through for us late last night with that homer. What are your overall thoughts at second tonight?
Yeah, obviously I like a lot of these guys on the top end. I think Semien's my favorite. If I'm going to spend up, I'm just going to spend all the way up and keep with these Rangers against Michael Grove. You know, Semien's just awesome, but you can't go wrong with Ketel Marte, even though it's not a lefty, but it's still Griffin Canning. And Ketel Marte has been hitting both sides pretty well recently. So willing to go there. Don't love Bryson Stott against Houck just because I do trust Houck, but it's still Phillies, so you could go there. But yeah, if we're living top end, I'm probably going to Semien or Marte.
Yeah, this was a position where there really wasn't much in terms of depth, so it almost feels like I was in the same spot, on this slate here where you just kind of spend up and just hope that the top end talent plays out, rather than take some shots at some of these guys down here. Like I mentioned, Gavin Lux is a lefty against Lorenzen. He's been really good against lefties. Don't want to just punt that. As bad as Roderick Munoz has been, like Jeff McNeil has not really been worth our time down here. Geloff gets Ryan. Emmanuel Valdez has been great since getting called up. Not going to go against Nola here. So, for me, I think it might be Willie Castro leading off at $4,200. Yep. Who, again, wrong side of the split for him, but at least a chance to steal, I guess, with a righty on the mound, or I'm spending up. That's kind of where I'm going at second today.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And at least Castro's leading off, so wrong side of the platoon. But again, against a not very good pitcher, he could still provide some value. But that's like the lowest I'm going. And most likely I'm spending up because – yeah, I'm with you. I just don't like any of these options at second.
Yeah, Cameraman pointing out that Otto Lopez has the right side of his split there. It's a righty on righty for Otto Lopez, but I mean, he's obviously hit a little bit better there. I don't want to go against Severino against Miami, though. I just don't think their offense provides much of the value there. Maybe you get Nicky Lopez leading off as a lefty here today if you wanted to get some White Sox.
Sure.
But not really what I'm looking to do there. Adam saying, would you go a little mini White Sox stack? I mean, we've kind of talked about it. I would say you're leaving out the most important White Sox in your White Sox stack here today, though. And we'll get to that when we hit the outfield. But I certainly don't mind Sheets, and we'll get the shortstop with DeYoung here in a second. Moving on over to third base, our guy Don mentioned liking, where was it here? He said for some reason he wants to play Lewis at third.
For some reason.
Is that because he has five homers in 9 games?
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure I know the reason.
Yeah, I too have a reason, like I want to play Royce Lewis. Small slate. The options on this slate aren't spectacular anyways. This man has been incredible. He's one of my favorite overall plays of the slate here. Definitely loving some Royce Lewis at $6,000. Maybe even like my first plug when I'm building lineups today in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm fully with you. I love Royce Lewis. He's hitting the crap out of the ball. It's a good matchup. And yeah, once you go past him, like, don't really want to go to Devers even against Nola. And then like Renifo, it's not a lefty. Like, and then you start dropping down to guys that you're kind of just throwing a dart. So why not just lock in Royce Lewis and figure it out elsewhere?
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one there. Because after that, I mean, what are you going to you get Devers against Nola, like you mentioned. It's not a great spot. Devers can obviously always tee off on anybody, your tournament play there. I like Josh Smith at $4,100. Again, still going to continue to hit in the middle of the Rangers lineup. Going to hit lefties. Now, Yarbrough is expected to come in, I guess, if you just trust the way DraftKings kind of has this set up, with Grove expected to be the opener. So at some point, there'll be a lefty spot there against Smith, but I'm not like overly concerned about that. You have Vientos versus a righty, which again, we've played him largely against lefties, but I'm not, again, on this slate, I'm fine going Vientos here at $3,700, just knowing what his offensive upside could be, because once again, you're kind of run out of plays here at the position for value.
Yeah, you really are. I mean, you could take a shot on Jake Berger or Eugenio Flores just because you know that they can provide you with a homer on any given day, but like they both have not been hitting the ball very well lately, so you know that you're taking a big chance at a 0-2. So like you could do it, but I don't know if I really want to.
Yeah, and I'm with you there. The other day I mentioned Ezekiel Duran had that lefty matchup. He homered. He had a hit yesterday and a double. So, if he's in the lineup again today, you can. But I think he hit like 8th yesterday. So, it's not like a great spot in that lineup. But if you're looking to purely punt, we've talked about it. He's gone on hot stretches before, but not necessarily the greatest of matchups there. Don asked him what our average number for pitchers. I'm assuming you mean fantasy points. It's kind of relative to the pricing. I mean, if you're taking a value play, you're sitting at like 15 to 18 fantasy point range, assuming they get a win would be great. If you're spending, 9K and above, 8,500 and above, you really want 20 plus fantasy points. And if you're spending 10K and above, you're looking for closer to 30 most days there. So, that's DraftKings. FanDuel scoring is obviously a little bit different because they don't take away as many points for like hits and walks allowed. It's mostly only earned runs, and you get quality start points. So over on FanDuel, 35, 40 fantasy points, I think, is the range you're looking for when it comes to a top end starter. 30 to 35 for a value play, most likely. So just kind of giving you some, ranges for your pitching. Ryan Askin fought chalk today. He is for value. Him and Severino are the two cheaper options, but again, they're not even like super cheap. Severino's 8K, fought 74. And the two spend up plays, you're looking at Ryan and Crochet today. We appreciate your questions. Again, if you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. We're happy to answer them for you for today's show. If you haven't already hit that like and share button, we appreciate that as well. Free way to support the work we do here over at Fantasy Alarm. Shortstop. A lot of questions on shortstop in the chat. Can the man saying Correa to the moon here? Got Paul DeJong. Been great. He has been great. I agree with that. We are looking at the top end here. Mookie Betts. Corey Seager was the cover of today's live show here. Came back, didn't miss a beat. Homer right away. So you want to ride some Corey Seager, you can. Lindor's been on quite a heater here. So again, in terms of depth, I actually think this is a pretty strong position today.
Agreed. I think this probably has more position than at least any of the other of the infield. Obviously, outfield, a lot of people. But, of all the infield spots, shortstop by far has the most depth here.
Do you have a favorite of that top group?
Yeah, Corey Seager's my favorite here. Again, he's just been awesome. He continues to be great. And he's someone, too, that even if it's, Grove starts and then Yarbrough comes in, I don't care that a lefty's coming in against Corey Seager. Like, that's not going to stop him from hitting the ball. So if I'm paying up, I'm going with Corey Seager here.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Again, he came back from a 7-day absence, immediately homers. Just an elite talent. He's going to get Grove at least 1 or 2 times through the order here before they decide to go to that bullpen. So in full on agreement with you. We had a mention about David Hamilton. What are your thoughts on this kid here coming up? Now, he was a speedster. I believe the Red Sox got him in like the Hunter Renfroe trade. Was that what it was? So the Brewers, I think so. 4 years ago, he had 70 stolen bases 1 year in the minors, but now he's coming up a power hitter. I mean, what are we looking at here with David Hamilton?
Yeah, I don't get it all. I never expected this to come out, so it's hard to know if, is this real? Has he developed power? Which can happen. Guys develop power later in their age sometimes, so maybe this is real. But he was always kind of thought of being a speed-first guy and not even having that good of a bat, average-wise even. So, him coming and doing this is a shock. But hey, maybe it's for real and he's made some actual changes because he just continues to hit the ball. So yeah, if you want to keep riding the hot hand, obviously I don't really want to go guys against Aaron Nola. But he still is pretty cheap and he's been legit. So
Yeah.
I kind of have a feeling that this might be obviously I don't think it's going to continue to be this good,
Right.
but I
if
think
he is, he'll win the Rookie of the Year. So,
yeah, exactly.
Right,
but I think he could be better than I originally thought he would be.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Hitting second today. That's how much confidence they have in him right now. Stacking lefties up at top. You have Duran, Hamilton, Devers, the top three there for the Red Sox tonight against Nola. So maybe they'll look to get something going there. Paul DeJong, as we mentioned, a lot of power. 5 homers over the last 10 games, 1,000 OPS. Emerson Hancock is not someone we're shying away from here today. So while we don't often look to play White Sox, there are certainly spot cases for that to be done.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, he's been hitting the ball great. Paul DeJong's one of those guys that I feel like he's burned me so much in the past that I have him sour against him. That's probably unrightful because this is a good matchup and he's been hitting the ball well. So why not go to him?
Yeah, I'm trying to see what is I feel like he's even just like a dead red righty fastball guy too. Like he's not this like crazy splits play. I'm pulling up just to get some confirmation bias here or make me feel stupid. Let's see. Against right-handed pitching this year, yeah, okay. So versus lefties hitting 160 versus righties he's hitting 261.
Yeah.
All 10 of his homers have come against right-handed pitching. 255 ISO against righties. So
yeah, go ahead. Take him against Hancock.
We are in the Paul DeJong red hot zone here tonight with that matchup against Emerson Hancock. Again, if you guys are just now tuning in, Luis Castillo had his start bumped back. So the Crochet Castillo matchup no longer on. They got righty Emerson Hancock and said starting in his place there. So certainly can go there. Ryan asking thoughts on Nola. Feels like he's going overlooked. I mean, ownership-wise, not really going overlooked. He's the third highest rostered pitcher today. Obviously the pricing there at 9K. We talked about it. The Red Sox, they're just a weird team, man. And they're good at home. So
yes, there's a great place to pitch.
Yeah, Nola is really good. Like he could easily go out there, shut him out over 7, have 8 strikeouts, and go for 30 fantasy points. Or the Red Sox hang 6 on him like they did Sanchez yesterday when they've been a terrible team against lefties and they hit him anyway. So certainly always a risk for whatever reason. The Red Sox are just hanging around 500. Adam wants to know our preference for player stacks from one team. I know our guy James Grandi doesn't mind the 5-man stack. He's done it plenty of times. I'm okay with doing mini stacks. Honestly, this is like a difficult question to answer without context. Depends on the matchup, depends on the pricing, depends on the team. There's a lot of going on there. I probably generally sit in a 3 to 4 stack with a couple of 2 mini stacks built around my lineups. But what are your thoughts here, Henry?
Yeah, I'm kind of similar with you. I like if you're doing a 3-man, I can do like 1 3-man and another 3-man stack type of thing in my lineup sometimes. I will do a 5-man stack sometimes. Like I don't shy away from it.
No.
But I've got to feel really good about the matchup. But again, yeah, living usually in more of that shorter range, but I definitely have days that I'll go do that 5-man stack.
Yeah, you got to get Patrick Corbin on the mound versus the Yankees and your 5-man stack in New York, something like that's going to make it happen there. Ezekiel Duran, I think Don plays on FanDuel. We talked about Ezekiel Duran already. If he's in the lineup and you want to throw him out there as a cheap play, you can. Again,
I'm not doing it shortstop though. Even if he has the eligibility there, again, I think shortstop's deeper. So using one of the other positions, if you are using him, so you can get one.
Actually, I believe on FanDuel he has like 6 positions. Like if FanDuel, if DraftKings limits you to 2, FanDuel I think gives them the entire field. So. But again, he's a better against lefties, so he doesn't have a lefty matchup, at least initially tonight. So, I give that a little bit of pause here. Going on over to the outfield, we discussed already the lefty splits here, and I just want to pull them up, because we have more people in the chat here now. Michael Lorenzen has been very good against left-handed hitters this year. He's holding lefties to a 177 weighted on base. He's holding them to a 103 batting average. Lefties this year are just 10 for 113 against him this season. 2 total extra base hits allowed for Lorenzen against lefties here. A 286 FIP, 24% strikeout rate for a guy that doesn't really have a high strikeout rate. Just something about him the way he pitches in his mix there just dominates left-handed pitching. Righties, not the case. Righties have a 570 slugging percentage against Michael Lorenzen this year. So we're looking at someone like a Teoscar Hernandez, I think, tonight, given his hot stretch over something like an Ohtani or Freeman, which, most people will probably look at Ohtani, Freeman, see a righty on the mound and think, let's go. Lorenzen's numbers, they're just insane versus lefties. So I'm not going Ohtani or Freeman here tonight. You want to build a Dodger stack? Go Betson, Hernandez probably today.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I do like Teoscar here, though. He's also just been hitting the ball great recently.
Yeah.
So I like him up this top end, especially in a slate that we don't have a ton of top end outfielders. When we're probably avoiding Ohtani and no Yankees, no Astros. A lot of these big outfielders aren't here. So Teoscar is definitely one of these top guys that I'm going to go after.
Yeah, 100% in agreement with you on that. Where else are we looking when it comes to top end spends? Adolis has been very, very struggling right now. Very poor at the plate, 103 average. Not looking something I'm looking to chase. No. Darren Duran against Nola, again, a tough spot, even though he's been good. I kind of just go to Lewis Robert. Yep. I think if we're honestly playing White Sox today, you have to include Lewis Robert in your lineup.
Absolutely, especially because a lot of those other White Sox guys are going to be so cheap that even if you're doing only a 3-man stack or something of White Sox, I don't know how you do it and don't still find a way to include Luis Robert. He's hitting the ball so well that if you're stacking a couple of White Sox, you gotta put Robert in your outfield.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you caught the clip last night. They pinch hit him, and the Seattle Mariners announce crew is like, "Oh, you got to be careful with this guy." First pitch home run. He's like, "That's why I said you got to be careful." With this guy. I mean, he hit that home run. So ignore the 196. Yeah. Obviously, he has struggled overall this year since he's come back. The power numbers have been pretty solid for him there. So perfectly fine going in that direction. I didn't find outfield to be honestly 6 games to be that deep, but I do like Corbin Carroll against Griffin Canning here at 45. Jock Peterson, you want to throw some lefties against Griffin Canning tonight. Corbin Carroll, when going good, is a $5,500 player. He's not a $4,500 player. He's hitting 314 with an 843 OPS over that last 10. If he's going to get going, you want to get on now while the pricing is still down.
Yeah, Diamondbacks are definitely my favorite in the outfield, and I like all 3 of them. Like Corbin Carroll, Jock Peterson, Lourdes Gurriel. I'd just make a 3-man stack of Diamondbacks in the outfield if I wanted to, honestly. Those are some of my favorite plays today, is those 3 Diamondbacks outfielders.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Jake McCarthy, obviously Jock Peterson, and Corbin Carroll are going to be some strong options for you, as are the Minnesota Twins guys. I mean, Max Kepler, I know he has had stretches where he's been good. Right now he's at a stretch where he has not been, but going against Medina here, you want to get a lefty bat at 44. Larnach is down there at 4K as well. They're in the middle of that lineup. You stick him in with Royce Lewis, and there you go. You got yourself a little mini twin stack today going up against Medina.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where are you on the Mets today?
I like the Mets today. Again, I'm willing to, kind of stack a little Mets in this matchup. I know JD Martinez has been not hitting the ball great, but again, he provides some power pretty cheap here. So, I'm willing to take a chance there. I think, I prefer the Diamondbacks and Twins in this outfield better, but I can definitely see, lean into some Mets as well.
Yeah, Marte hitting 5th, homered yesterday. He's been on a nice little heater, 430, 1,100 OPS, back-to-back games, 3 straight games with 2 hits in them there, so 4,300. Again, we generally like the Mets against lefties, but Rodri Munoz has not been very good. So, you can certainly go ahead and attack him. They've just been calling him up and down from AAA. And, there was rumors that this start was supposed to be Max Meyer, and then they decided to keep him down at AAA because they just want to keep protecting that kid as he comes back from his Tommy John surgery. Ryan asked what happened to Carlos Correa's power. I think the knees, man. Whatever was going on with that, I just don't think he's got that power anymore in that bat.
Yeah, I mean, the power has kind of been gone for a while, and he's never had huge power guy. You're talking about someone who his career high is 26 homers. He's never been a giant power guy, but so when you drop off from being only like a 20th homer, it looks really bad once you start losing a little power.
Start hitting 12 homers, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so now he's more of a contact guy. McCarthy, again, up to 6 tonight, hitting 4K. I know you mentioned liking the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Minnesota Twins outfield for today. Value plays on this slate. Again, Pages, if he's in the lineup, It is the right split going up against Lorenzen, righty on righty here.
If you're doing that righty Dodger stack,
a little righty Dodger stack can certainly get there. I don't mind going Wyatt Langford down here at $3,500. Again, I think there's some more talent to be found in that bat. We mentioned Gavin Sheets already as well. Any other value outfielders for you?
There's not a whole lot. I talked about Yoshida the other day he was only $3K. And again, he's only 3,100. So like I said, I don't love stacking the Red Sox against Nola, but I just still think this is crazy cheap for the quality of bat that Yoshida is. So I'm still willing to try a one-off play there potentially. Yeah. But beyond that, outfield starts to get pretty thin here at this price.
Yeah, exactly. And, with the official lineups, we did have the question earlier. I think Cam the Man brought it up. Let's see if I can find it in this chat here. Up at the top. Cam the Man wanted to know our thoughts on Austin Martin. Again, you mentioned Minnesota. He's $2,500 here. Not a great track record so far this year, but punt play in the outfield at $2,500, hitting ninth, get maybe a little wraparound stack. Helps you fit Lewis in, obviously, a little bit easier. Any interest here?
It's got to be with a twin stack. Like, I'm not just like taking the 2,500 because it's cheap and throwing other people in there. Like, he just hasn't had much of a bat this season, so I don't know if there's a lot of upside. But yeah, if you're doing a bit of a stack with the Twins and you need him to be able to afford your Royce Lewis and other guys, then sure, you can totally do that.
Our guy Howard Bender popping in chat saying our ownership over in Fantasy Alarm has now been updated, so you can get all the up-to-date rostership numbers over there. Again, you got to be an all-pro member to get access to that, along with all of our premium content, including our premium Discord. I've been flashing the QR code there up on the screen, everybody, throughout the show here. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, right there, fantasyalarm.com/win. Use promo code Let's Go. Get your first month for just under $20. You can scan that QR code right there on the screen as well to get access today. So make sure you go check that out. Let's get our lineup build for today. We settle in on Garrett Crochet. I think is our top guy on the slate here.
Yeah.
Do we go Fott for value? Do we try to double spend? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think Garrett Crochet is a lock-in. I'm either going Joe Ryan or I'm going to Brandon Fott. I think maybe let's see if we can get a little more money on the offense and just go the Brandon Fott play. If for some reason we find values, we can always pivot to Ryan.
Exactly. All right. So I think we agreed on doing Lewis Torrens here just to save some money. We liked Royce Lewis at third today.
Yeah, I'm happy to lock him in.
I wanted to get Corbin Carroll in the outfield. So that's 45. So we got 4K to go here. What do we want to? What's our next plug? What do you got for us?
I liked Nate Lowe here at first for only 3,800. It gives us a little extra money, and I just think it could be a decent matchup for him.
Sure. Second base. I think we liked either spending up or going Castillo in the Castro rather in the mid tier. I'm trying to think if we had any other value plays. Right, shortstop was a spot we kind of liked to spend up for as well. We might have to just plug in the 2,500 play just to see where we're at here. So if we go Martin, that gives us 4,500 a player with 3 spots to fill. So that makes it a little bit more interesting here.
Okay. I think I probably do want to go Willie Castro then. If we have the Martin to have the first and then at least have Royce Lewis third too. We've got
the 913.
That. Why not?
If we did Seager, what does that give us? $3,900 in the outfield.
Oof, not going to Pajes.
Yeah, do Pajes right there. All right. So example lineup for everybody here. Again, Garrett Crochet, Brandon Fott, Lewis Torrens, Nate Lowe, Willie Castro. Willie Castro? I got that right? Yeah, Willie Castro. For whatever reason, my brain didn't want to say that word. Willie Castro, Royce Lewis, Corey Seager, Corbin Carroll, Martin Pajes, an example lineup for everybody here today. Again, we're attacking with Minnesota. We like the Arizona outfield, getting Corbin Carroll in there where his price is still cheap. Got ourselves a 2-man Texas stack going up against the Dodgers there, and we're going Andy Pajes again. You got the righties against Michael Lorenzen today, not the lefties. Just in that matchup there. Again, if you guys have any questions, get us in our Discord here. You got to be a Fantasy Alarm member, so scan that QR code. Go to fantasyalarm.com/win. Use promo code Let's Go. We'll have the pre-show again recorded tonight and out early for you all to get ready for tomorrow's slate, and we'll be back here tomorrow 5 p.m. Eastern time. I believe Henry on the playbook tomorrow. You on the playbook for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm on the playbook tomorrow.
I make the schedule and I forget sometimes. So Henry will have that playbook out for you all nice and early. Myself and James Ryan will be here for the live show at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Good luck with your lineups, everybody. We'll catch you later.